So the night after WrestleMania 19 featuring The Rock and Steve Austin, The Rock did this big, long Rock Appreciation Night, Rock Appreciation Night segment that intended to promote his win against Steve Austin because that was his first ever win against Steve Austin at WrestleMania. Since, if you recall, The Rock has always lost to Steve Austin at WrestleMania, and kind of almost every single match they've been in that doesn't involve tag team meaning. So yeah, he's never beaten him in a singles match as far as I know. But anyways, The Rock had declared that he had done it all. He'd done it all, and that he would be leaving WWE since he had beaten Kurt Angle, Triple H, The Undertaker, Stone Cold, and yeah, when The Rock kept saying that, I was like, yeah, what about Brock Lesnar? You never beat Brock Lesnar. Like, you only fought him once, and that was pretty much it. Like, you never beat him, and you said you've done it all. Or should I say, The Rock has done it all! He's done it all! And yet, you ever did beat Brock Lesnar, and that match has been talked about for the last 12 years, 13 years, I think. Saying we really need to get a rematch on that because The Rock should have one more chance against Brock Lesnar. Though, considering Brock Lesnar and The Rock's current status in the WWE, that would be a train wreck waiting to happen in terms of how Hollywood will react and how Brock Lesnar is very limited nowadays. Albeit most likely because WWE is too lazy to give him any variety. So, yeah. Goldberg made his debut, and I wasn't watching WWE at this time. Like after 2002, I kind of lost interest in WWE for a bit, specifically mostly because Stone Cold left, and I felt like WWE was never going to be the same when Stone Cold left, and to an extent that was true. But I was a kid back then. I didn't want these guys to go. And then when I heard The Rock was leaving for Hollywood, I was like, no, not The Rock. He's cool. He needs to stay. I could never, because when I was a kid, I could never picture Stone Cold or The Rock ever leaving this company. I didn't know the inner workings of the company. I didn't know everything about the company. I didn't know the behind the scenes stuff. So if this were to happen today, then I would be like, okay, now I understand. Like, I understand Steve Austin, but The Rock, I would still probably complain, saying, no, why Hollywood? Why did you take The Rock from us? I'm like, you can take Cena because he's so stale. At least The Rock was fun. But anyways, Goldberg made his debut when The Rock had declared that he was leaving, and the audience went ballistic because, well, they promoted Goldberg at WrestleMania for a small vignette, and they were promoting him, and they were chanting his name, like, we want Goldberg. We don't want to see The Rock. I mean, like, we still love The Rock, but we want to see Goldberg spear The Rock, and, like, everyone kind of had a feeling The Rock was going to be the next opponent, I think, because he went on last, and Goldberg had not debuted yet. So it was clearly obvious that they were going to save The Rock one more time to fight Goldberg. So, okay, Goldberg made his debut and speared The Rock after he unfortunately was allowed to talk. Like, if Goldberg was the promo speaker that he was now, considering how well he did in 2016. Then I would be okay if Goldberg could speak. But Goldberg was still, why are you talking on the mic? Like, you could have just came in, speared The Rock, and walked out like a badass. But no, you need to speak. You need to say that you're going after The Rock instead of just going in there, staring at him, and The Rock arrogantly tries to walk out because The Rock was a heel at this time, though that's strongly debated because the fans still loved him, no matter how much The Rock acted. And Goldberg would have just speared The Rock afterwards. So, and that's precisely what they did during the build. Like, The Rock was getting goaded into fighting Goldberg, and, well, Goldberg just stood silently, growling and roaring, while The Rock was being the arrogant heel that he was because he was all Hollywood and I need to protect my image. I need to protect my face. I'm the A-lister. I am the original Miz. I am the A-lister. The Rock. Which is why when The Miz was copying The Rock's entrance video to an extent, that was like, oh, it's The Rock. Yeah, this is not going to work. It's going to make people think The Rock's coming back as this Hollywood gimmick again. So, after The Rock finally had accepted why do I keep saying Brock Lesnar? Goldberg's challenge on the April 14th episode of Raw via satellite, like the coward that he is. They did a final episode before Backlash where The Rock held another segment entitled Rock Concert, where he mocked Goldberg with Goldberg, who everybody knows is the opposite of Goldberg, was this small, baby fat guy, like, where the exact opposite of Goldberg, like, whereas Goldberg was ripped, strong, and destructive, Goldberg was just this big child that was not intense, that always lost his matches, and yet there was a time when he was facing Triple H. Yeah, we will never talk about that ever again. Goldberg appeared from the audience and entered the ring and attacked Goldberg. And, well, The Rock executed a rock bottom on him and then slammed his skull with steel chairs to the head, to the point that the announcers had said at Backlash that Goldberg had a concussion storyline-wise and still wanted to compete. And I gotta be honest, they didn't really do that much in the match. Like, I heard that this match is mostly bad, so I took a look at it for myself, and I thought, it's okay. I'm like, it wasn't Goldberg's best match. I mean, like, this is his first match, and he's only been in New Japan Pro Wrestling for a bit. Well, at least in Japan, as far as I know, for the last 2 years, and also they could make the argument he had ring rust. So, yeah, it should be safe to assume that there would be some issues here, especially he has to adapt to the WWE style to an extent. But, my concern was how this match would be. Like, I didn't really... Like, that's all I heard, that this match was bad. I thought this match was just okay. Like, it wasn't Goldberg's worst match, as many people like to say it was in his WWE career, though there were a lot worse matches in WWE for him, and a lot worse segments they gave him, like the Goldust angle. That should have said that Goldberg was screwed in WWE. So, the other concern I had was mostly it's the fans. Like, this would be the major concern. It would be the fans regarding Goldberg and The Rock. Like, they liked Goldberg, but they also liked The Rock. And no matter what The Rock did, the fans still loved him. Like, The Rock said it best in his promo on SmackDown, I believe, when he was on SmackDown during the draft, where he said, "One question, do you really want to boo The Rock?" And the audience said no. So, if the audience, I'm pretty sure creative was hoping he said the audience would do the opposite, but they should know that WWE can't control what the fans want. Something that they have not learned to this very day. If that disaster of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman segment regarding the build to Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar 2 was any indication. But the reason why I never talked about that segment in my Hell in a Cell build is because, oh, don't worry, Enlightenment will be coming near Survivor Series. So you just have to wait a month. But anyways, back to Goldberg versus The Rock. Like I say, it was an okay match, and the audience, I couldn't tell if they were really chanting Goldberg. Like, they had big signs of him, like, so they were on his side because this was his debut in WWE. And they didn't really focus much on his head injury that he had regarding the storyline where he had a concussion. They kept mostly focusing on his arm, and and that's when I really thought, okay. I was expecting the commentary to say oh god, that's the arm where Goldberg has shredded his tendons and whatnot in an accident in WCW when he destroyed a limousine. Like, I know they probably wouldn't have gone that dark graphically even back then, but they could have said Goldberg. That's where Goldberg injured his arm back in WCW back in 1999, and considering how fatal that injury nearly was, well, not I wouldn't really say fatal, more like arm fatal because he could have lost an arm. They could have played up that The Rock was toying with that surgically repaired arm, even though it's been 2 years since that incident. Wait, I mean 4 years since that incident. They could have played up that since The Rock was targeting it and could probably damage it. I'm like, granted, it's been 4 years, so I wouldn't really expect them to, but it would have been interesting if they did. So Goldberg, okay, The Rock just got out of the ring a lot, and because he's a heel, they had to make him look like a coward because that's what all heels are. They're a bunch of cowards. They're not badasses. They're not dominant threats. They don't. They rely on people to do their bidding. Like, that's sometimes the case. The coward emphasis. But I like the badass heel. I've been always a fan of that. Not the cowardly type, because it just makes them look weak. Even though I know when they were a face, they are clearly good and can hold their own. But when they go heel, it's like a sudden personality change, and they don't explain it why. At least nowadays. So, anyways, The Rock got a few shots at Goldberg, targeted mostly the arm, like I said. And, okay, I was expecting something memorable to happen in this match. Like, Goldberg did the Rock bottom, but, okay. And then the audience was starting to chant near the end of the match that Goldberg sucks. Goldberg sucks. And I was like, oh god, I saw that coming. Like, if this was now, people would probably be chanting Goldberg because of how WWE handled him back in 2003 and 2004. But, yeah, when it came to facing The Rock, who are they going to cheer for more? Are they going to cheer for the guy that comes in, spears a guy, and then walks out? Or, well, spears a guy, jackhammers him, and then walks out? Or are they going to cheer for the guy that's theatrical and does things over the top and acts like a cartoon character at times and tries to play with the crowd? Who are they going to cheer for? Who are they really cheer for in this match? Who will they really boo? And like I said, WWE hasn't learned this lesson to this very day on that. So Goldberg gets the victory. He beats The Rock. 1, 2, 3. All said and done, he walks out. And he should have put up his finger in the air saying 1, like he did when he did the jackhammer, because he could have signified that this was the beginning of a new streak. They could have done that. That actually would have been interesting in WWE. He could have said that this is the beginning of a new streak in WWE. Like, The Rock was victim number 1, and there's a lot more coming. Though, considering how WWE handled him, I'm glad he didn't. So afterwards, The Rock cut this promo where he said he was leaving WWE, and then I don't really remember what he said after the show, because, like I said, this was after the show, after the pay-per-view went off the air. The Rock cut this promo about how he's thanking the fans, I think, and this would be The Rock's final match until 2012. Well, not 2012, 2011, when he and John Cena teamed up to face Awesome Truth. And, well, yeah, that would be The Rock's last match for the next 7 to 8 years. Sad, and he was only 30 at the time, and that's surprisingly young. Like, he's kind of still in his prime, and he could still go at it for another 10 years to provide he doesn't get injured badly. So, yeah, it was kind of sad that The Rock left after that. So, Goldberg would move on to fight Chris Jericho in a feud, which I'll talk about in a later video. And I also discussed how Chris Jericho and Goldberg should have fought in WCW because they had a better build. But it happened in WWE, but the magic just to me wasn't there anymore. Like, they could try and hype up WCW days, but the one that they did in WCW when Chris Jericho wanted it, it actually was organic. So, yeah, I'll talk about that in a later date. So, those are my thoughts on Goldberg versus The Rock at Backlash 2003. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more.